A big change to SSI benefits, supplemental security income. What do you think? I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. All right, now in this video, I want to run something by you to see if this is worth pursuing or if we shouldn't even bother. Based on what I read down below in the comments section on so many other videos here on the channel, I would anticipate this is something that's very, very important for SSI beneficiaries and exactly what I want to focus on and address right here in the video, so let's get right into it. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here, or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video. As I am your one and only daily advocate, I'm watching the headlines very closely each and every day with all these big announcements coming out right now, taking all that information, doing all the research, and breaking it all down into these short videos so you can stay posted with what is actually going on right now, especially as it pertains to your money, your benefits, your lifestyle, your bank account, how much you're going to receive, as well as anything else in regards to all these announcements out of the administration, the president, lawmakers, Congress, and all the bills, packages, proposals, amendments, reform that they're working on, as well as anything in regards to money, checks, programs, raises to benefits, or anything else right now that we can possibly get our hands on. I'm watching all that stuff very closely and bringing it to you right here in these videos, as I truly want to help you out in any way that I possibly can, as money is very, very tight right now, especially for fixed income beneficiaries. Anyway, I'm here for you every single day as your daily advocate, so please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, so you don't miss any updates going forward, and as we continue to talk about very important topics just like what we're going to cover right here in this video. All right, thanks again. Subscribe down below, and let's jump into it and talk about a potential big change to SSI, supplemental security income. And I do want to run this by you to see, is this something that's actually worth pursuing, or should we just forget about it and move on? Well, honestly, in my opinion, I don't feel like there's much to ever move on from, because realistically, I feel like if it's available, if it's something that's out there, we should always pursue, because you never know what may come to fruition, what may actually happen. You just honestly never know, right? You just got to keep trying until eventually something will stick, right? So it's kind of the philosophy that I like to live by, is just you got to keep trying, you got to keep doing something, and eventually something will work, right? Just like Thomas Edison and the light bulb, right? If you ever heard that story, apparently he failed 10,000 times before he actually figured out how to make the incandescent light bulb. So anyway, just a little story for you right there. You probably heard that before. But let's quickly talk about SSI specifically. Now, this does not necessarily pertain to Social Security beneficiaries, whether it's retirement or SSDI, survivors, VA, any of the other beneficiaries. It's mostly pertaining to SSI. Now, let's take a little trip down memory lane for just a second here. SSI is actually a program that has not been around all that long in the history of all these programs like this. In fact, SSI was actually first established back in the early 70s by Richard Nixon at the time. So it was back in the way early 70s, 1972, is when SSI was actually brought in as a new program at the time, right? So it's been a very important program. However, here's the problem. It has gone under virtually no reform since it was brought into this program back in the early 70s. So basically 50 years ago was the last time that this program went under any major reform, which was basically when the program rolled out. Now, there was some reform throughout the years, but for the most part, there has not been major reform on the SSI program as a whole. Well, as a result of that, I think all of us can probably recognize right now this program is severely out of date, considering the $841 monthly benefit, or the less than $900 benefit for SSI beneficiaries, or even well below the federal poverty line benefit. Yeah, that's not really going very well these days, right? So we can clearly see that is one of the major problems here. Not only that, all about all the other aspects with SSI, including you can't have virtually any income, otherwise they potentially garnish some of your benefit, or even they might even reduce or stop your benefits, right? Not only that, what about the marriage penalty as well? I mean, seriously, is that an old policy or what? So these days, we probably shouldn't be talking about a marriage penalty anymore, because realistically, does that even make sense anymore? Maybe back in the 70s it made sense, but honestly, it just doesn't really make sense anymore. And I think a lot of us here in the community who receive SSI, supplemental security income, can probably agree 100% that the marriage penalty is not a good thing, right? So as of right now, in 2022, as I make this video, an individual receiving SSI can get $841 per month. Obviously, you know that. How about a married couple? They get $1,261 per month as a married couple receiving SSI. However, why is why is a married couple receiving SSI getting so much less than if you were just to double it, right? So let's just say the two married people are both receiving SSI. So rather than getting $841 doubled to $1682, they're actually getting $1261, right? So $421 less than what they should be. You kind of see what I'm saying here? So here's what I want to ask you and see if this is something we should propose, if this is something worth pursuing, or if we should just throw it into the wind and say, forget about it. Let's just get done with it. So here's what I've done. If you've been watching the videos here on the channel for any length of time, you know that I've written multiple different letters over to Congress. And again, we do this, we continue to send these letters because why not? Like I said earlier, keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. Eventually, something might crack here, okay? It might be worth all of this, but again, it's just like, let me give you another analogy really quick since I'm on an analogy roll here. It's just like cutting down a tree with a axe, right? So here you are, you're chopping, chopping, chopping. Every single chop you think, this is taking forever. It's not doing anything. Oh yeah, it is. Every single chop is making a little bit of a mark, right? Well, eventually, over 5,000 chops later, I mean, obviously, it's probably not going to be that many. I hope not anyway. But again, after a long period of time of chopping, 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 eventually, the tree falls over and you think, wait, what just happened? Why that one shot? Why did I get it that one time? Well, it wasn't just that one swing of the axe. It was all of them cumulatively going over and over and over, eventually brought down the tree, right? So just like sending these letters over to Congress, right? We're sending out these letters. Every single one is making that little tiny chop mark in the tree, right? Eventually, we'll tip this thing over. Well, maybe. I don't know if that really works with Congress, but I'm not here to like overthrow or something like that. I'm just simply trying to get through to them that what we're trying to propose here is actually some pretty meaningful changes. But anyway, here's what I want to ask of you. Do you think it would be worth our best interest here? And do you think it'd be worth our time to draft another letter quick, basically reaching out to Congress, asking them to update this very severely outdated rule on SSI to remove the marriage penalty? Here's what I do know. There are multiple different lawmakers within Congress right now who want to remove the marriage penalty. So they've voiced this before, and I do know that there are a lot of people in Congress right here, right now, that want to remove that because they also agree with us that it is completely out of date to have the marriage penalty in there. Now, let me put that into perspective. So as I said a minute ago, a married couple receiving SSI can get $1,261, $1,261 every single month as a married couple. However, put this into perspective. As of right now, if the marriage penalty was removed and both of those married people were getting SSI, check this out. Your benefit would go from $1,261 basically up to 1682 because it would be 841 multiplied by 2, 841 times 2 people, right? So it'd be getting essentially $421 more per month. Now, what would that do for your life, right? Would that be worth drafting a quick letter and sending it over to Congress? Again, I'd like to hear your comments down below, but I'd be happy to write another letter like I have done in other videos. I've written these letters and I've sent them out to Congress, and again, don't really get a whole lot of response, but at the end of the day, that's okay, because I'm always thinking of the tree chopping analogy, right? The one I was just thinking of. You got your flannels on, you got your axe, and you're out there chopping away, and eventually you chop that sucker down, right? So, and you call it firewood, or you call it a log cabin. I don't know. You call it something, right? But anyway, my point is I'd love to hear your comments down below and say, is this something that we should pursue here? And again, I've seen comments down below previously. In fact, somebody here on the channel gave me this idea, and they said, hey, you should really actually write another letter to have them remove the marriage penalty because this is so incredibly out of date. Yeah, it is. And like just some of the other letters that we've written here, some of these things that we've actually asked them to do previously doesn't cost anything. Would this cost them anything? Well, I mean, technically, yeah, it would cost a little bit more because ultimately now a married couple, rather than getting $1,261 a month, would be getting $841 doubled, which would be $1,682. So yeah, I guess it would cost a little bit, but at the end of the day, do they need to reform the program anyway? Yeah, right? So the first thing that they could do is probably remove the marriage penalty, and then ultimately from there, maybe, I don't know, raise benefits up to the federal poverty line. That might be an idea too, and who knows, maybe we can get them to do that as well, as long as they're working on something. But as I've mentioned before, with these letters, I like to come in and ask for one or two simple things because realistically, if we ask for too much, we get nothing, right? Well, doesn't really matter what we've asked for. Apparently, we still get nothing, right? We've asked for one thing, we get nothing. We've asked for nothing, and we get nothing. Well, I don't like that solution. You have to ask in order to receive. Well, not always, but at least in this instance, I want to make sure to continue to keep the pressure on Congress, let them know that they're simply not doing enough and that they should do something more for the people, especially those individuals who are low income, older adults, or people with disabilities, people living on fixed income benefits who need some changes like this. And this would be a super easy change for them to do. Yes, it would cost a little bit more money because the fixed income beneficiaries of SSI who are married would actually need to get a little bit more. But again, I think we can all probably feel pretty good about ourselves thinking, hey, somebody getting $12.61 a month, I don't know. Let's just send them out an extra few $100s a month. I'm pretty sure it'll enrich their lives a little bit better because realistically, who can really be enriched these days on $1,261 a month for a married couple, for two people? That's like $630.50 per person a month. That's not much to live on these days, right? It's tough. Anyway, let me know your feedback down below. I'd be happy to draft another letter, and we can send this one out at any time, just like all the other letters that we've sent here. And again, hopefully, just like the tree chopping analogy, you just got to keep chopping, and then eventually you might get a crash, right? Will it make a sound? Probably. It'll probably make a sound like a bunch of screaming because that's what Congress likes to do, right? So anyway, I hope you're having a nice day so far. Thanks again for watching this. I really do appreciate it. Subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out some of the other thousands and thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, have a good one, enjoy, and I'll catch you again later.